To get back on how you were saying that lots of congressmen and senators have kind of changed their mind and seen the potential behind commercial crew, do you feel that since SpaceX is looking primarily at building a commercial spaceport in Texas, that Senator Hutchison especially might change her mind?
I do not believe that has been why Senator Hutchison has become more positive. I do think she has become more positive. SpaceX has been building and testing rocket engines in McGregor, Texas, for several years now, and doing a substantial amount of testing because they test their engines very robustly before they integrate them onto the launch vehicles and launch them. I think Senator Hutchison was concerned when President Obama came out and canceled Constellation and frankly did not offer a coherent plan for what we were going to do in place of it. And the emergence of commercial crew at the same time, it seemed to some people, and I think it wasn't an accurate perception, but it was an understandable perception, that somehow the president was proposing that we replace Constellation and NASA conducted human space exploration with commercial spaceflight. And that's inaccurate, but I can understand how they got that idea. And until it became clear, both through legislation and starting of new programs, that there was going to be a NASA space exploration program separate and distinct from what NASA was doing to stimulate new industry, I think there was just too much controversy, and they didn't want to. It was as if we were outsourcing our space program to Elon Musk, and that's not what's been done. And we're not outsourcing our space program to Boeing. We're not outsourcing our space program to Sierra Nevada or to ATK. I mean, we have a federal space program that includes work in low Earth orbit, primarily at the International Space Station, and we would like for NASA to be able to explore using humans as well as robotic scientific probes beyond Earth orbit, back to the moon, or the distance of the moon, to near-Earth asteroids, to the moons of Mars, and eventually to the surface of Mars, because that's sort of our solar system neighborhood, and that's where we all want to go, and we want the government to go out and be the Lewis and Clark and discover things.
With the current election upcoming, do you think that path could be attained through either one of the candidates, or will we just have more of the same?
Well, I personally can't wait for the election to be over. I suspect more of the American people will join me in that perspective as they go through watching television ads and debates and things over the next several months. The reason I can't wait for it to be over isn't because I am longingly looking forward to one or other candidate, having won and that they will save the day and everything will be perfect. I just want the fight to be over so that there is a president who is going to be president for 4 years, and we aren't waiting for the election to resolve things. The election will be over, and we can get about resolving issues and deciding what we're going to go do. I have a personal preference of who's the right candidate. As far as space is concerned, I think Mr. Romney has to show what it is he wants to accomplish. Personally, Mr. Romney, if Mr. Romney applied the same sort of fiscal controls and management discipline to NASA that he executed when he was at Bain Capital with the companies that they worked with and invested in, I think that could be very beneficial for our space program, so that we stop spending money on things that we're primarily spending money on just to spend the money, just to see certain companies or certain facilities be more utilized. I would rather we be investing our money based on what results are we going to produce with that money, and if candidate Romney does that, if he becomes president for NASA, I think that would be a good thing. I don't know if that's what he's going to do. He wasn't my candidate for the Republican nomination. I had the very good fortune at the beginning of my career to work for a young backbench congressman named Newt Gingrich, and Mr. Gingrich lived up to all the dreams and vision and passion I always knew he had for space. Earlier this year, and we had a singularly uninspired reaction by the other candidates and by the media. That's very unfortunate, I think, for people who are interested in a more exciting future in space. But we'll see what role he plays in the future, and we'll see what happens to Mr. Romney and what happens to the president.
Well, is there anything else more that you would like to add or talk about?
I hope Washington doesn't screw it up. I think we're at the start of some really exciting developments in commercial spaceflight in this country, and I hope that we don't, whether it's through a nostalgia for the past or a desire to exercise high-minded regulation of industry, I hope we don't stop, we don't kill the baby in the crib, that we let these new developments emerge and watch the American people's eyes light up and hearts catch on fire as they see American people flying into space again, but in much greater quantities than they ever have before. I think that's going to be a truly blessed thing for our country and for our species, and I don't want Washington to screw it up, and I guess it's partly my job to try to make sure they don't. So it's not necessarily the most inspiring daily reason to get out of bed, but it's what gets me out of bed.